Good evening, and welcome to the 2025-26 proposed budget. First, I'd like to start off with a very big thank you to our community for supporting this school district and for all the programming that we do and the staff. It is greatly, greatly appreciated. So our agenda for tonight includes the following. We're gonna look at the development process, and how that works and what it looks like. We'll look at the revenue budget, we'll look at the appropriation budget, we'll look at the ballot propositions. I'll have my email address up there for any questions, and then we'll hear from the candidates. So the development process actually starts in early November with a budget development calendar that gets board approved. And then in December, we have the department budgets that are submitted to me for feedback. In January, we have the building level budgets from the principals. And then from January to April, we have 4 or 5 different budget committee meetings. And then, of course, in April, the board adopts the budget. And in early May, here we are. So, quick glance at the budget summary. So the overall budget from 24-25 to 25-26 has an increase of 3.91%. If you look at the operating expenses only, which excludes the debt service, it's a 6.41% increase. And then when you factor in the debt service, we had a little drop off in the debt service, so that brings it down to the overall 3.91%. In terms of the 3-part component of the budget, the administrative piece is about 10%, the program is almost 75%, which is what it should be, and capital is 15.5%. The overall budget that we're looking for to be approved for 25-26 is $23,540,850. For the revenues, so this is just kind of a breakdown of where the money comes from. So you can see that about 1/3 of it comes from property taxes, about 60% comes from state and federal aid, and the remaining about 7.5% comes from local sources, which is the county tax revenue that we receive, and also our fund balance and appropriations towards the budget. So, taking a closer look at New York State aid, this year was different from the past 5 years in the sense that we don't actually have a true number for the legislative state aid. The overall budget was approved, but some of the details in there have not been ironed out yet, so that's why it's highlighted in yellow. But a couple of factors to consider: the foundation aid, based on the governor's proposal, is a 2% increase. The legislative has proposed the 2 individual houses. One proposed a 0.9% increase above the 2%, so 2.9%, and the other one proposed a 1% increase, which would make it 3%. So, worst case scenario, we should get 2% increase, but it could be as high as 3%. We don't know that yet, which again is why it's highlighted in yellow and is subject to change based on final approval. You can see, based on the numbers, which is primarily the governor's budget, you can see that overall, the aid is about a 0.7% increase. Not quite $100,000. So this shows the real property tax calculation, how it's done. And typically from year to year, we try to make sure that we are within the tax cap. So we're always typically somewhere between 2 and about 2.5%, which is the tax cap. This year, the tax cap is higher, which is primarily because of the growth factor. So you'll see that the growth factor increased by 50% from last year, and that growth factor is determined by the state based on growth within the community. So it went from 1.0042 to 1.0061, which is why the year-over-year increase is 2.87% instead of closer to 2.5%. Projected tax rate. So again, the true tax rate does not come out until July, so this is just a projection based on the data that we received from real property tax and the assessors. You can see that for 24-25 per thousand, the true value tax rate was $16.23. The projected for 25-26 decreases by $3.50, which I'll explain in greater detail in the next slide. But you can see that the assessment levels from town to town have all decreased. And you'll notice, so Arcadia, for example, was just reassessed last year town-wide, so it was at 100%. A year later, it's now a 4% decrease because it's a year old, and that's based on the real property tax from New York State. You can see Marion is at 54%. The overall town assessment hasn't been done in quite a few years. You can see that it's all significant, with the exception of Arcadia, it's significantly below 100%, which again, this is all a result of COVID and what's been happening to real estate property in terms of the increases. But typically, prior to COVID, it was almost always 100% or high 90s. So this is going to illustrate why it's happening. So in 24-25, the overall value, property value in the Marion School District was $443 million. 25-26, it's $527 million, which is almost a 19% increase. And again, that goes back to that growth factor as well. So the tax levy, as you all know, there's a 2% tax cap, and that tax cap is 2.87%. Because those numbers are so different, you can see why the true value tax rate has decreased by over 21%. Okay, appropriations. Here's a summary of where the money is going. So you can see that instruction is 48%. You can see that the employee benefits is about 25%. General support is almost 13%, and then debt service and interfund transfer is about 8%. So for general support, the things to note of significance here is that there is an increase of a little over $20,000 for equipment, and that is needed to replace some old equipment for facilities. Salaries are up as a result of contracts that have to be obligated, and then of course we have inflation. So overall, we're looking at about a 8.6% increase from budget to budget for general support, and this is mostly facilities. Instruction, the significance you can see here are salaries, 5.7%, and again, most of this is because of the contracts, the collective bargaining agreements that we have. The other piece of it is that our special ed staffing is increasing as the IEPs change. And then also, the cost of special ed is continually rising. And you'll notice a big difference between the contractual services. One is BOCES and one is not BOCES. So there's a shift there. So in other words, some of the placements that were at BOCES have shifted more towards the public and private sector, which means it's going to shift that money to that. And you can see the significant shift there. Even though we have fewer students compared to this year using the BOCES services, it still has increased because of inflation and cost increase for those programs. Transportation, the big piece here is again is the salaries, and the reason why those are increasing, aside from the collective bargaining agreements, is that the number of special out-of-district runs for some of our bus runs, we have additional runs, so we have a bigger need for more drivers, which obviously drives up the salaries. You can see that everything else is almost flat. And then one thing to note is with transportation, for every dollar that we spend in transportation, we get roughly 85 cents of that back in transportation aid. Employee benefits. The big one here is healthcare. So healthcare, compositely, when I say that, we have 3 different plans. There's an HMO plan, the PPO plan, and then a high deductible plan. Compositely, those went up 12.4%, which means to the district, it went up 10% because ours is primarily based off of the PPO plan. So you can see where it says health and dental, 8.9%. Social Security increased as a result of obviously salaries increasing, and then the New York State retirement also increased. And then the last piece we got support of.
Nice going, Mr. Walker.
Something I said. So debt service, this is where we had some debt service fall off. So you can see that there's a almost a 21% decrease. So overall, it's almost 18.5% decrease. And for debt service, so for every dollar that we spend in debt service, we get $1 in building aid. So it's a 1-to-1 offset by design. Every year in the budget, we approve a annual capital outlay project, which is capped at $100,000. And what that does is allow us to do a small project each year and then to get building aid back on that. And we're always 1 year in advance. So this is to actually approve for the summer of 2026, which includes work for door replacements, exterior envelope repair, and ventilation upgrades. All those things are not gonna be addressed with $100,000, but it gives us that flexibility to address the most immediate needs for next summer. Propositions. Proposition 1 is voting on the overall budget, which again is $23,540,850. And this will make it is within the tax cap requirements, so it ensures that everybody gets their either their refund checks or their deduction from their tax bill. Proposition 2 is for bus purchases, and these I want to emphasize that these are all fuel operated buses. And we have the language in there to purchase up to 6 buses at $990,000. And again, there's a little bit of uncertainty there with tariffs because we don't know what the actual prices are gonna be. So that's why it's written this way. And the whole idea with our bus replacement, again, is we purchase it, we get 85 cents on the dollar back for that purchase, and it's also under a 5-year warranty, which reduces our maintenance costs and our labor costs. So it makes sense, we try, every 5 to 6 years, we try to rotate the buses out. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. It's rwalker@marioncs.org. Okay, candidates for the Board of Education. So this year we have 2 seats that are expiring as of June 30th, 2025, to succeed Jason Monroe and John Reeser. And the new term runs from July 1, 2025 through June 30th of 2028. And the 2 candidates that receive the greatest number of votes will fill those seats. So this was drawn out of a hat. So the first candidate is John Reeser. So he has the floor.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rich. It's gonna be hard to top all that. I'll do my best. Well, my name's John Reeser, obviously. Been serving on the board for the past 6 years. I've lived here since 2000, so just over 24 years. My wife and I, my wife's from here, graduated here. My son graduated here. He's pictures up on the wall over there. My daughter goes to school here. We're invested. We're happy to be here. We love it here. I went to a school where it was a little bigger in Niagara Falls, and kind of wish I had the family atmosphere that was here, you know. I just love the atmosphere of kids knowing each other, everybody kind of friends with each other, or at least friendly, and just has that atmosphere. Very happy about some of the things that we've been able to do here for Marion, some of the opportunities that our kids have, you know, some of the new programs, some of the things that we get to share with other schools. You know, I'm just happy to be here, happy to serve. You know, if you voted for me before, thank you. If you're gonna vote for me again, I appreciate that as well. Kind of a man of few words, and just proud of the school and what we've been able to accomplish, and you know, just happy to help facilitate anything we can for the kids that are here, and the kids that are going to be here, and for the families that are here, and just to enrich the community and make things a better place. So, thank you.
Next, we have Tracy Tull, who now has the floor.
So hello, I'm Tracy Tull and running for the school board. I probably could say I'm Brody's mom, and probably a lot of you would know me. Apparently Brody is quite well known there in the junior class. We are relatively new to the area, and I probably didn't get out as much as I had hoped because I had surgery on one foot and then had an injury on the other foot. So I've been inside quite a bit, but it's been very fun reaching out with, you know, getting petitions and whatnot and signatures. Brody's involved in wrestling, track now, and it's just been a very welcoming community. So a little introduction, my husband and I have been married 33 years now, honey? Okay, yeah. You know, somewhere in there. And we had no idea that life was gonna be such an adventure, no idea. Police officer, teacher, went and got our master's degrees, you know, forged ahead with education. And then just all of a sudden the adventure took us from Michigan to West Virginia to Georgia, and then now here. And I can just tell you that I know I'm kind of the outsider, but feel very much an insider with the welcoming community. And that's probably, you know, with 25 years of experience in education, I think I come with a whole lot of, you know, not fresh, new, but just a different perspective. You know, every time we went and I taught somewhere new, there was just new things to learn, listen and learn about, research, become a part of this team, that team, lead that team. So that's just kind of, you know, that's my thing. I still love it. I am now a professor of English at the nursing college in Rochester, which I absolutely love. And gosh, you know, we got our little granddaughter here. My son, who married beautiful young lady, just I adore her. I don't know many mother-in-laws that can say that about their daughter-in-laws, but I absolutely love her. And they are in town, and so when we started kind of looking around for houses, Marion had a couple houses for sale, and 2 years ago I was like, you know, I'm just gonna go walk in and see what happens. And we did. Brody was in tow with me. I'm like, we're gonna go check it out. And I don't know if you know this, but like it's the welcoming part of this that gets me so much is that when we came in, number one, we were greeted very nicely. It's not like, who are you? You know, we didn't get a funny look, we didn't get anything like that. Now, I do remember a time where my husband had to bring lunch to Brody when he was in a school down in Georgia of 1,100 in his graduating class, 1,100. So there's over 4,000 students in this school. And, you know, he forgot his lunch, it was the first time ever. Tim brings him his lunch at the front desk, and it just wasn't a very warm reception, even to a parent. And they don't know your kid, you know, they don't know Brody Tull from 1,100 other kids. So we knew what we wanted from a school when we came here, and we found it instantly. I was on the phone on the way to the car telling my husband, put an offer on that house and make it big so we win this one. Because just how we were treated and everything that Brody saw when he walked through and the nice smiles, everybody had time for us, which is not normal everywhere. And that child has never had such great grades, and having a good time. So that small community, I think it's very, very important. I respect and adore what is here, and I just wanna be a part of it and help. It's everything that I've learned and know. Hopefully it's time to give back and be a bigger part of it, where I can really assist. So that's kind of it, I think. But thank you for your time.
The third candidate couldn't be here tonight, however, she did prepare a speech, Cindy Madison, so the district will read that.
Hello, my name is Cindy Madison, and I'm pleased to say that I am running for the Marion Board of Education. I have been a resident of Marion for 35 years, have raised 3 grown children who are all involved in very meaningful work and lives in general. They benefited from many of the standard classes and extracurricular offerings through MCS. All 3 were in the musical, participated in band and chorus, and went to Germany with Frau Thompson. I was an employee of Marion for 20 years. I loved being able to see my students pass my house or at the town park, grocery store, or trick-or-treating. It was fun to live and work in the same place. In my 20 years of teaching in Marion, I was a special ed teacher and a general ed teacher in 5th grade for a lot of my career. I was also a teacher on special assignment for a few years and had the opportunity to work in both buildings and the CSE office. This gave me a broader view of what happens at the district level. What I think I loved the most about my time in Marion was the chance to create classroom community. Prior to Marion, I worked at BOCES Monroe 1 in a variety of settings. I feel like I would bring a unique set of skills to the Board of Education, and that I've had the opportunity to be a parent, a teacher, and an employee in this district. I have lived the challenges and the joys of all 3 roles. Marion folks take great pride in their school. I would be honored to be a part of the Board of Education and would strive to put our children first and foremost. I would have loved to be able to make this introduction in person tonight, but we are on our yearly family vacation to the Outer Banks in North Carolina. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes the budget hearing for the 25-26 budget proposal.
It is 6:24, we're going to call the business meeting to order. Let the record show that all the board members are in attendance. Please stand and join me for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any changes to the agenda?
There is, we've changed some of the order from when it was originally published. So we added a personnel section to be under presentation. And then I've also moved the administrative reports up, because Mr. Dean has a very, very exciting commitment that he needs to do.
Thanks for your flexibility.
Any board members have any questions or comments on the agenda? Okay, can I get a motion to approve it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. Anyone from the community sign up for comments?
They had not.
Okay. Okay, we will move on to presentation. It's not functioning properly.
All right.
It's gonna present here, so.
No, you're good. You can stay.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. I'm so excited about these presentations tonight. So our third graders have worked very hard this school year learning about different cultures. So tonight, we're gonna get a little snapshot of the work our third graders have done to learn about culture, to learn about the research process, and to learn presentation skills. So what I'm going to do is we're gonna split into some groups. So administrators and board members, I've taken the liberty of assigning you to a group. Family members who are here today, we would love for you to join your child's group, or if if you're interested in a different group, you're more than welcome. But we're gonna split up in different locations across the library. The students in your group will be joined by a teacher, and we'll have a little introduction for everyone about what the project was that students have worked on, and then you'll get to hear the student presentations. Sound like a plan? All right, so we're going to have the students I'll tell everybody's locations and then we'll move. So the students from Mrs. Van Camp's class are gonna be right up front, and they're going to be with Mr. Wise, Mrs. Mitchell, Mrs. Kuling, and Mr. Reeser. Students from Mrs. Buckles and Mrs. Jerzak's class actually have two locations. So one location right here, and then one in the far back corner. So right here will be Miss Tabor, myself, and Mrs. Levy. The second group will be Mr. Marshall, Mrs. Miller, and Mr. Walker. And then our fourth third grade group, Mr. Cowell's class, you're right up here at the front window section. You'll see your little label up there. That will be Mr. Monroe, Mr. Dean, Mrs. Steiner, and Ms. Claire. So board members and administrators, you can relocate. Students, you can come find your groups. And family members as well. Feel free to rearrange the furniture so you have a seat.
We're good.
I was wondering.
Yes.
I had tempura shrimp for dinner today. I'm in. What do you guys want? What are we doing?
I just wanna make sure wherever you need your parents can see.
Are we observing or are we part of something? Oh, I thought
Already had your
The camera.
Just a chance for a little mini gong.
Hi, my name is Trevor, and I will teach you about earthquakes of Japan. First of all, the Pacific Sea Fire. Japan is located right on top of this. These plates are always moving and causing earthquakes. How to stay safe during an earthquake is to drop, cover, and hold on.
Your name and then.
The Tokyo earthquake in 2011. It caused lots of damage, and they wrote an I Survived book about it. And Japan has a lot of earthquakes. Japan has like 1,000 earthquakes almost every year. And you're probably wondering, why is there water right here when it's an earthquake? It's because the earthquake caused the tsunami, and now I'll teach you about tsunamis of Japan. First of all, a tsunami is a huge wave. Tsunamis are deadly. Coastal areas are at risk. Tsunamis can rapidly flood the land and cause great destruction. Strong currents can drown swimmers and destroy boats and harbors. In case of tsunami, notice any strange behavior. Move to higher ground or island. Act fast when warning is issued. Grab a tree if you can. Keep mobile on your phone. And tsunami water barriers. These will help keep you safe during a tsunami. So will these. They are called tsunami warning systems. Hi, my name is Kennedy and I study Japan's geography and climate. First I'm going to tell you where Japan is located. Japan is located off the east coast of Asia. Many islands, but I'm going to tell you about the tsunami. A few things about Hokkaido is that Hokkaido is the second biggest island and is known for its cold winters and cool summers. A few things about Honshu is that it has Mount Fuji and is the biggest island. A few things about Shikoku is that it is the smallest island and is known for warm winters and hot summers. A few things about Kyushu is that it is known for its volcanoes and is the third biggest island. Now I'm going to tell you a few things about Mount Fuji. You can hike Mount Fuji in any season, like spring, summer, and winter. And that's a picture of Mount Fuji from outside, from down here, and that's how tall Mount Fuji is. And then that's a map of Mount Fuji. Now I'm going to tell you about Japan's climate. A few things about Japan in spring is the cherry blossoms bloom in the middle of spring, and you can go on picnics and watch the cherry blossoms bloom. And in the winter, there are lots of almost anywhere. And fall is the second most beautiful season of all 4 seasons because the leaves turn beautiful colors like yellow, orange, pink, and pinkish red. And in the summer is when all the storms happen, like hurricanes, tsunamis, and Hi, my name is Abby, and I learned about Japan's most popular foods. They have so many different foods in their country. They have sushi. Sushi is a cooked fish and vegetables. They have soy sauce and wasabi. Second of all, I'm going to talk about their ramen. They have a good ramen. They have different flavors, sometimes different seafood. We have eggs, chicken. Mochi is a sticky dough, and it has strawberries, red bean paste, or ice cream. Katsu is a chicken or steak, and sometimes it can be served with rice on the side. They have tea. Sometimes they squeeze the lemon on top of the chicken. Takoyaki is a rounded ball, and it has pieces of octopus in it, and sometimes has different ingredients. Japan's curry is a rich dish. Sometimes it has curry sauce on it with rice on the side. Udon is a thick noodle soup, and it's served with warm broth. Have you ever tried any of Japan's most popular foods?
Takoyaki, I can tell you that. That scares me. Have you tried it?
Have you tried them?
A little feast in our classroom.
Oh, very
Awesome.
nice.
Come on, come on.
Any questions?
Would you go to Japan?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Should we do a field trip?
Is that your senior class trip?
What would you wanna do in Japan if you went there?
Technology. Same.
That'd be your whole trip.
I know.
It'd be my whole trip, I'd have to recover.
Earthquakes. Learning what kind of food they have or kind of ingredients.
I'm still stuck on octopus.
Yum.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Both our kids like that. My daughter wants to try anything Asian food related. Yeah, she would definitely probably guess.
So how many of you are in the class that researched this? Just the 3 of you, or did the whole class do it?
The whole class.
The whole class? What other types of things did you learn about?
Well, I know somebody researched Filipino, and they don't have many flat areas. They set it on the side of the mountain.
Okay.
I like what you guys
Oh, I think
awesome knowledge.
I think Mrs. Hare's trying to get your picture.
Why don't you guys hold your posters, right? There you go.
Which side?
Either side.
Whichever side you like.
When you bring on.
What's your favorite?
Good job, guys.
Great job.
Very
Thank you so
impressive.
much.
Go find your picture.
Good job, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying
I'm very
impressed too.
It's exciting.
They did a really good job. I miss him. For that one. So I miss having a third grader for that one. Not the kid that was. Yeah. But just the wanting to learn part.
They didn't even seem nervous at all.
I did the one thing.
Of course. Bye, Abby. Thank you.
All right, thank you everybody for coming. If you were a third grader who presented, Thank you so much. We're gonna continue our meeting. You're welcome to stay, but don't have to stay. But thank you so much for sharing your talents, and a special shout out to our third grade teachers, Mr. Cowles, Mrs. Buckles, Mrs. Van Camp, Mrs. Minkow, and Ms. Jerzak for all the hard work they put in to get students ready for these presentations.
Thanks for inviting third grade.
Thank you
guys,
guys.
thank you. Very impressive.
So we're gonna continue on, next section is personnel.
All right, so we have two new hires tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Dean. One of our new hires, I'm very excited to share, is able to be with us in person. So Mr. Dean is going to give you an overview of our personnel.
Where is she?
I'm sorry. I don't know
So
what side to go to.
you're okay. Go over here because you're gonna have to shake everyone's hand.
Okay.
There you go. Stand right there. So I'm thrilled to
I already like her.
introduce you to Abby Bennett. Abby Bennett is going to be our new social worker. We've been looking to fill this position for over a year now, and I'll be honest, I was starting to wonder if it was ever gonna happen. But it just kind of felt like we hit the jackpot when we interviewed Abby, and we're thrilled that everything worked out. She's graduating this May from Nazareth with her master's in school social work. She is energetic, she's passionate about the work, she has really successful internship placements under her belt, and we think the sky's the limit for her here at Marion Junior Senior High School. So I'm thrilled to introduce you to Abby Bennett.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. So now we ask you to come and shake everyone's hand.
Okay. Welcome.
Oh, it's running to go.
Congratulations. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Abby, congratulations. Welcome to the team.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thrilled to have you.
Yes. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Great,
Thank you. Thank you.
So glad to have you on the
And
team.
thank you.
Thank you all, I appreciate it, I'm so excited to start and I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Have a great night, Abby.
Thank you. You all too.
I am also thrilled to recommend, are we good to roll right in, Dr.
Yep.
Wood?
Yeah.
Okay, Brady Rogers for the position of probationary ag tech teacher. Brady has experience as a technology teacher in the Capital Region, in the Albany region. He's also got a strong educational background from Cornell University. He brings a great deal of enthusiasm about this opportunity, and we are thrilled to see the excited opportunities that he'll bring to our students here, both at MES and at the junior senior high school. So I present to you for your consideration Brady Rogers.
I move that we approve Brady Rogers.
Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. On to administrative reports. Do I let Mr. Dean go first?
Yes.
First off, thank you for your flexibility. My wife and I were both thinking that Palmax board meeting started at 6. So I was gonna go there for the 10-year recognition and then come here, and thought the timing would work out well because it was budget hearing night, but
Mr. Dean's wife is receiving tenure tonight.
yes, at Palmax, and so it turned out it starts at 7.
Start talking, get it done.
Thank you again for your flexibility. And Nadine, thanks for switching things around. Our art students were recognized by the Wayne County Council of Arts. First place Isabel Marshall, second place Lily Marchbanks, third place Madison Wagner, and honorable mention went to Anna Cowerhouse, Lillian Edlin, and Siri Comgis. Congratulations to them. Mrs. Guck was honored by being a Monroe County All-County Elementary Band Conductor, which is a huge honor. Congratulations to her. We're so grateful that she is ours. Speaking of, marching band has been working hard to prepare for competitions. They've been dodging raindrops a lot, But they're doing their best to get ready. We had a really successful prom this past weekend. Students had a blast, a lot of great dancing, a lot of great music. Again, dodging raindrops, but they did not let that dampen their spirits at all. Thank you to Mrs. Flaherty for working hard to, Mrs. Mara, working hard to prepare that as the junior class advisor. New York State testing has been going really well. Grateful to our tech department and to Mr. Kellerhouse for executing a really great plan for New York State testing. Thankful to Mrs. Duffy and Frau Thompson for overseeing successful trips to Spain and Germany and getting our students home safely after once-in-a-lifetime trips. So a great opportunity and experience for our students. We had our first ever Decision Day Assembly on May 1st, and it went really, really well. Great energy in the auditorium. Students were, I think the seniors were very apprehensive and nervous. But I think by the end, they kind of understood why we did it and the vision, and grateful to the rest of the student body for providing the energy in the room. It was really positive. So grateful for that event. And upcoming, very busy month, we've got DC trip to 8th grade departing early tomorrow morning. I'll be excited to join them with Mr. Herlin. We've got our spring showcase and academic awards right here, May 21st, save the date for that. Our chorus concert, May 28th, and Special Olympics on May 30th are just a few highlights from the month of May. And I wanted to give the board just kind of a heads up that we very much value tradition here, and I value tradition a whole lot. One tradition that has become unsafe and frankly kind of disruptive at the wrong time of the year is Senior Prank Day. And so I'm going to work hard with our seniors this year to come up with some solutions that they feel are fair replacements for Senior Prank Day. I have some ideas that I think they'll really enjoy, that will not disrupt learning in the most critical times of the year, and also make sure that we are as safe as we can be every day. So I just wanted to give the board a heads up on that that's something I plan to work with our senior class on. And I'm hopeful that they're cooperative. You know, I do think at some point we'll have to say it's either this or we have to lose privileges as we get closer to graduation. But I'm hopeful that they'll be willing to work with me on that. Thanks again for your flexibility.
Thank you.
Get out of here.
Congratulations to your wife.
Thanks.
Yeah, have a
I'll tell her
safe
you
time,
said so.
safe and fun time in DC.
Thank you, will do.
Mrs. Miller.
Okay, so in terms of what's going on in the curriculum instruction assessment office, testing is happening, but the principals will love to share about that, I'm sure. Working for summer planning, figuring out the curriculum projects and things and professional development for summer. This week, we're gonna start working on Wednesday with the P3 teachers to begin our reading attestation process. I've mentioned that's coming, so by September 1st, based on state law now, we have to annually attest that we are aligning our reading instruction to the science of reading. And so we're gonna be going through best practices in each of those grade levels so that they can tell us if there's any concerns so that we can work on that alignment so that we're up and going. I anticipate it will be relatively easy because we really are. It's not gonna be there's no major surprises in this process. It's just going through and having conversations. I will be attending on May 13th. There's actually it is a synchronized state training on numeracy. So all of the different BOCES will be hosting a live virtual event, meaning that we will go to BOCES and they will virtualize from Albany. So everyone gets the same information from the state at the same time. That's how they have been rolling out presentations. Working through and understanding, and eventually I will come to share the changes in accountability. They're making some shifts in how they're doing accountability at the level and what our levels are going to be. We also are working through some changes for our 4-6 reading and ELA. We're trying very hard. Sarah's working to make the master schedule work so that all 4th, 5th, and 6th graders will get a reading block and an ELA block in their day to really focus and have more time spending on building reading comprehension skills as well as their writing. And then also focusing on embedding literacy in the content areas with science and social studies daily in those grade levels. And then I'm not sure if Dr. Lloyd will mention this or not, but we had the pleasure, that's what we wanna call it, to participate in a webinar on the changes to the APPR process. We're on 3012E now, but it's no longer gonna be called APPR. It's going to be called the STEPS program. And so we will be working through those changes. They don't have to be implemented until 2030. But it's gonna take a while to work through all of the details. It seems much more complicated, if you can believe it. So we wanna find the simplest way, but actually the most useful way to have feedback and conversation about growth for teachers, because that's what at the heart of it. So that's what's happening in the world of my space, so.
For special education, we're continuing with our annual reviews. Primarily right now, we're looking at, since we're in the elementary school age, so we're doing annual reviews for CSE students. We're also working with the CPSE students, so preschool students. For the preschool students, we're looking at them, do they need special ed services for kindergarten? So are they being initially referred to kindergarten? Are they declassified from being a preschool student? Do they just need building level supports? So it looks like 20 to 25 CSE meetings a week. Red Jacket, the district, so Manchester, Shoresville, is coming here on Friday to see some of our high school self-contained classrooms. We currently have them, we have a student from Red Jacket who's in our 811 class. It's a consortium agreement that we have. And so the special ed director is coming here on Friday to look at our high school self-contained classes. They're looking for placements for 2 students and wanna come and see what we have here to see if it would possibly support 2 students that they have a need for. At the end of the month, some of our special ed students will go to Special Olympics. It's at Marcus Whitman again this year. And this is students from elementary school and the high school, but it's also our out-of-district students. Specifically, we target our out-of-district students who go to Monroe County programs. There's a difference between Monroe County and Wayne County Special Olympics, and we invited our Monroe County district students a couple years ago, and some of them super love to participate in this, so it's like a very exciting day for some of those students and families. And then the high school is still working to get to our goal of 5,000 BKCs by the end of the year. We're getting close to about 4,000 right now, so Mrs. Kellerhouse works with BKCs with me, and she says if everyone writes 1 BKC a day, till the end of the year, we would get there. Probably I would overkill it, but that's her goal, is everyone writes 1 every single day. That's where we are right now, if you wanna help.
I love it.
So at the elementary school, yes, we are finishing up our actual days that we've set aside for state testing. So tomorrow and Thursday is math state testing, and then we'll do some makeups with our kiddos who were absent on the days that we did, like ELA science and now math. So if anybody's listening, charge your Chromebooks is really important. We had our future fair last week, which was really great. We actually had a wide array of representation. The kids got to, the older kids, like I said, went around to the different tables, got to talk with the people that came. So we had people from the fields of finance, so Reliant Federal Credit Union came, emergency services with Western Wayne Ambulance, EMTs, aviation, so a former Air Force, now FedEx pilot was there, literature, so we had author Sally Valentine, we had our own Dave Wise with his snakes, and I did find one of them cute, so I have the speckled one, I liked that one.
I have you to thank, is it?
The kids loved the snakes, so lots of families are gonna maybe be getting into snakes now. Public Utilities, Town of Ontario Water Department, we had art and design, so we had a family come that works with wood veneer designs, law enforcement, the New York State Troopers are there, photography, robotics, OptiPro, and genealogy with our other own Nikki Miller. So it was really great. The kids had like so many questions to ask. They really seemed engaged. I was really curious how it was gonna go, especially with our younger grades. So after we did the traditional future fair piece, the younger grades rotated classrooms, and that was, I stopped in a couple and you never know what you're gonna get. So you're maybe not aware of this, but some kids went from the snake room to the plane room, and the questions were, has the pilot ever had snakes on a plane before?
And they said, yes, there's even a movie about it.
But that just rolled into like, well, what about horses? And so they learned a whole lot.
He's
And
probably wondering,
I
why are
also
those
learned
questions
that,
here?
yeah, FedEx does fly horses, so if you were
But
curious,
I
they
just
do.
learned how they fly them on the Kentucky Derby Day. There was a story about how
Was it
horses
FedEx?
travel. Yeah, there's
Wow.
special containers they have to have.
We all learned something. It was a great day for the kids. I also want to say, like, it's staff appreciation week, and I feel so lucky that I landed here at Marion. I think that MES has a wonderful staff. Like everybody's mentioned, we have testing going on, we have 50,000 CSE meetings happening, and then all of the other things that really happen this time of year. The teachers are really rolling with it. It's a lot of stuff to handle all at once, and they just do it. So I wanted to say like a special thank you to that staff. And then May 13th, we have our band and chorus concert.
I don't know how to follow that. I have nothing about snakes on planes. So one thing that I had the opportunity to do is to attend the Elevating Youth Voice Summit at Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES. Amber actually came and spent the day with myself and two of our students. So we sent two student representatives that have been a part of this project about accepting and respecting all students and kind of addressing some bullying and harassment type topics, and it was all of Wayne Finger Lakes BOCES. And so our students, every different district that was involved, kind of found different ways to bring things back to their school district. And our students were like really proud of the work that they did, and that they kind of brought things back in a very real and authentic way. And even we're continuing the work after the summit. So it was something that I think they learned a lot, and was meaningful for them as well. So it was nice to see, and it was like a very uplifting experience, I think, for everyone in the room. I also had the opportunity to attend a community schools conference in Albany last week. I got to visit a school in Albany that is implementing the community school strategy, and just hear from people throughout the state about how they are implementing community schools in their districts. There's a saying that's like, if you've seen one community school, you've seen one community school, because all of them are different. They're meant to be, locally based and kind of have local decision making. And so it was just very cool to see some similarities and some differences, and get some ideas about ways that we can improve our use of that strategy as well. May is mental health awareness.
Can I interrupt you?
Oh, sure.
I feel like you should share that your staff presented at that conference.
Yes, our wonderful community schools coordinators, Emily Lorenzen and Lynn Luca, did present as part, there was, I think, 12 different presentations, and they did one sharing some things. And they've done this in the past, or Emily has, and people have taken ideas from us and implemented them in places like Greece, where I would say Greece is kind of where community schools has a strong foundation, and so we're really proud of the fact that other people are stealing our ideas as well. They did an amazing job.
Adopting.
Yes, not stealing, we share.
Yes.
So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. We are kind of taking the opportunity to focus on physical and mental health this month. And so you might see some Parent Square posts coming from me perhaps tomorrow and each week. And the students in each building will be hearing just different messages and learning about things like outdoor safety, like ticks and sunscreen, nutrition, sleep and screen time, which is an important one, and then also mental health awareness at the end of the month. So those things are happening. I'm writing some grants right now, so there's a couple of things, there's not too many things that have come out because of the uncertainty around federal funding. But right now there's a couple out that we are working on that are pretty competitive, but we're hopeful. And then just a reminder, our Community Schools Advisory Board meeting is May 14th, right here at 4:30. And we'll be sharing out some of the different action steps that we've been working on. So from our first Community School Advisory Board, there was some feedback from those that attended around childcare opportunities, swimming, and access to the fitness center or weight room here. So those are things that we'll be giving updates on. So hope to see you there.
Technology, as principals have talked about, we've been working on the computer-based testing for the 3 through 8, which for us has gone extremely well. And part of that is the systems we have in place and the investments we put into our infrastructure. And we did our wireless here last year. We've not had any issues at all. It's gone really, really smooth. But supporting to make sure that everybody has what they need in the moment has kind of taken some time from us. Also supporting some benchmarks at the high school where they're still, because the Regencies are still paper tests. A lot of our quarter benchmarks we still do on paper, and then I do some of the remark scoring to help get data back into the teacher's hands. So that's been going on. Starting to look at, again, software renewals and software kind of inventory of what we're looking as far as for next year, making sure the systems that we're using are the appropriate ones that we are using and we want to keep working with. And also planning for summer, again, for this, that's our big time. Tickets. Started to do this for a couple of meetings now. Since we were here last time, we've had 41 help desk tickets, including spring break, which is a week off. Average response time for us is about an hour now, which has been really a really strong support for our staff and our students.
Thanks everyone for those updates. We'll move on to Board of Education reports and discussions. We have on here the open forum that we talked about in the last meeting. Date landed on May 27th. In this room, right?
In this room.
In the library. We talked about, I just wanted to confirm that our primary topic we wanted to talk about was merger and any type of collaboration with other districts. That was what we wanted to be primary for that one. We talked about having a way for other questions to be submitted that might be a part of this one if time permits, or be part of a future one. Is everyone still good with that?
I will attempt to be there.
Yes, we know,
When you
we
put the
know
date
your
out.
schedule's iffy, but everyone else was available.
I will not be able to make it now.
Oh, you won't?
I'm out of town for work. Sorry.
Alright, then there was 3.
There's 3.
Sorry.
May have 4.
So,
I will
I
try.
think it's important to have it.
Yeah, I think
and
so too.
like, it's something that our community seems to like when we do it. And even though we're advised not to do it, we still do it and they like it, so.
Do we want a questionnaire, do you want me to send something out where people can submit questions that we may get to or may not, but just.
Yeah, I would say if you can send something like, just
Would tell us if we had other topics we
other
needed to
top,
get
like,
in front of.
I just want a way to
Sue and I,
gather other topics to see, we know the merger and the cooperation with other districts is a big thing. Especially since we didn't even move forward with the merger study, I've filled in some questions as far as why we didn't. And it's
Or
just
why we
like,
even did it, where did it come from,
where did it come from, that type of stuff, and just remind people how we got to that point and why we didn't move forward and that type of stuff, but also, what are other people thinking? I think that's the key of asking for input, is there another topic that is big on, that our community is very concerned about, that we hasn't been brought to us yet? And it just gives us a chance to gather that data. So, I would say, yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else have anything to report on this meeting?
Well, I will say, I heard about the future fair for at least 3 days afterwards, so it was a huge success.
big kudos, and
how long did
Mr.
you
Wise, I
have?
feel like we'll be doing some business together.
Gotta say, when you get
Reptile
that
related, yeah.
He's got a very cute speckly.
Adorable. And the Elevating Student Voice Summit was truly, such an opportunity to be in that space and hear from the students and see the kids engage on these topics that aren't necessarily important, or not that they're not important to students, but I feel like, you know, who wants to sit around and talk about bullying at 14 or 17? But these kids really do, and they care, and I think that really showed that day. So I think that was a really special opportunity and a really good program.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to superintendent reports.
All right, so the first thing in my section is just some highlights around the 4 E's. So as the board knows, that's like one of our goals in both buildings this year, that students would be learning more about the 4 E's, which are, you know, your post-graduation options. So employment, enrollment, enlistment, or entrepreneurship. One of the things I like love about Marion is that we set these goals in the summer and like they happen, like we make them happen across the school year. I love our summer planning process that Nikki facilitates through our CIC team, and to me it's just amazing that you take this small group of committed people and you make these amazing things happen for kids. And really like Mr. Dean and Mrs. Hare already shared about May 1st with the senior signing day and the future fair at the elementary, but that was just one of those days that I like walked through this district and was like, this is why I do this work, this is why I love this place. So kudos to our whole team for like making those things happen for kids. It's part of what makes Marion such an incredible place. In addition, the other piece that I would highlight from the 4 E's is, you may have seen there was an article in the Wayne County Times highlighting Save Our SOTUS and the return of the Rose Loomis boat. We are partnering with Save Our SOTUS and the University of Rochester to have our kids, some of our science students, be able to do some microplastics research on Lake Ontario. So I'm thrilled about that opportunity for kids, because I feel like it does give them a chance to explore that enrollment E in a little bit of a different way. So they'll be working with staff from the University of Rochester and some grad students there to be doing research on SOTUS Bay. They'll get to go out on the Rose Loomis to like collect data, do data analysis. They'll work with these grad students to be able to publish their own paper. Like that's a kind of a big deal that our students will be published scientific authors by the end of the summertime. So very excited about that opportunity and the chance for kids to like learn science by doing science. And we talk about like building a science identity, like kids being able to see themselves as a scientist. So I'm thrilled about that opportunity. You will probably see like through that article, and I know there have been some things on Facebook, the grant funding through the National Science Foundation that supports that specific project has been cut. So they're still hosting our kids, very willing to do that, and we'll continue with this opportunity, but I know they are looking to fundraise because that specific funding has been cut for the support of like the research scientist time and the grad student time. So, but it's still a super exciting opportunity for our students, and I'm glad to see how that will come together. The board will be invited June 21st. They're gonna be doing like a public presentation, a share for the community about their research. So I'll make sure the board gets that invitation, but as of right now, it's June 21st at 10 a.m. and the kids have chosen to have it at the lake. So I think it will be at SOTUS Point if you wanna come down for a nice morning on the water. Next on my list is circling circling back to the design for the Marion mural, we had talked previously about a potential mural on the side of the elementary school. Teresa Kuhn is here tonight to talk a little bit more about it. I'm going to put up the proposed design for her and she's gonna tell you a little bit more about it.
So she's pulling it up. We have 4 different panels we're doing, and each panel is gonna represent a different, theme. So the first one is our ag window, and there's a couple changes we're gonna make to the design, and I'll explain those too. So our first one is our ag window. We've got the Caldwell Place that's been here since 1795. Some people wanted the crop duster in the picture because there's a lot of Marion people that used to do the crop dusting. We've got our muck, we've got our apple orchard. We picked the Wayne County canning factory because everyone liked the architecture of it, it's unique. And then celery was a huge crop in Marion once upon a time, so on the farm truck there is celery. And then we have on the shelf, we have a bag of flour from the Marion Mills. We have some cans from the canning factory, some Dutch shoes, celery, potatoes, and corn representing kind of all of our agriculture.
I love the Dutch shoes.
And then up at the top it says we grow the best for all the rest, which is Marion's town's logo. And then the next one is our historic window, which we put the Marion that was established in 1826. We have our first national bank with Roscoe Bush, who was the one that founded the thing. Then we have the Atlantic Hotel, and then we have, of course, the bandstand that everyone that's from Marion knows very much about bandstand. You can't really see it good, but in the bandstand we have a guy playing a trumpet. That's going to be a red cap. So the color, that's one of their changes. We want him wearing the red pants, the little bow tie. There's talk of also some of these people that you see in here are going to be actual Marion people from the past. So one of the founding members of the Red Caps will probably be the Red Cap person. Also, we've got the first fire truck, which Fred Haskins was the one that helped bring that, so we want to put him on the fire truck. And then we have the Marion Concert Band, a red cap, some money from the Marion Bank, a fire hat, and a trumpet that we're going to be putting on that one. One other change too is this panel 1. We're going to move to panel 3, so the 2 banners are in the center. And then this one is our businesses. So we've got Goose and Store up at the top, and then we have the Clark Block that used to be here, and in the Clark Block used to be the Candy Kitchen, and used to be Walt McKenna's barbershop, so we've got that there. It's hard to see on this, but on that little plate is an ice cream stick, which was something that was, I hear from a lot of people that grew up here, about you used to go get your homemade ice cream on a stick and you hoped for the free stick, so you could get another homemade ice cream from the Candy Kitchen. And then we've got, these are supposed to look like the cement blocks from E. Warner and Sons, so they'd be a little bit puffier when we actually do it. On the side of this building is going to be a topping ladder with somebody from the Topping family, because that was another big business in our town. And then we move to the school and the cemetery. We've got the old MCI building. And then we have the Christian Church, which is our Mason Lodge Diamond 7 now. And in the back, we've got our statue that Marion is kind of well known to have. And then we're going to pick servicemen from the past to represent each branch. And on the shelf on this one, we got a soccer ball, some books, a lunch box, baseball mitt, and the Flying Dutchman logo. Let me see what else other changes I missed. Oh, we're gonna add a Legion emblem also to this one, so we don't have that. Minor changes, like the cows are gonna be red because Caldwell Place had Guernseys, not Holsteins. That's comes from me just because I know my animals. And I think that's pretty much it. And then the name on the bank we're gonna put. But minor changes we're gonna do, and we might have more people, cause like we mentioned, we want Carolyn Adrianson possibly to be in here because she was the historian for several years.
Ever sitting in the
That's what we're actually talking about, right? The Facebook area. So does anybody have any questions about the design?
I love it.
No service women?
I mean, we can. We just need names and pictures.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, that's great.
What a blessing, bless away.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And it's gonna go up on the 4 panels at the elementary school, and it's going to be screwed into the mortar is what it's supposed to be done, so it's removable. And then the only thing that I guess the town would like to ask is if for some reason they have to be removed, that we get them back.
Same problem with that one.
Yeah, right.
I don't wanna be, I don't foresee a need to remove them, it's just. But
Yeah,
If you plan for it, you won't need it.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Thank
you.
Thank you, great job.
Thank you.
Right.
Alright, and then the last thing, I'm just hoping people can either look at their calendars now or come back next time with some potential dates for another board and admin retreat like we do every summer, a couple of hours together, one summer evening just to do some professional development and some learning together and be able to kind of set our course for the next school year. So we coordinated administrative calendars and really for the admin team, any evening in those last 2 weeks in August, we're all available. So the week of the 18th and the week of the 25th. So if people have any dates now that are potential dates, I'm happy to kind of pencil those in, or if people prefer to come back next time with their dates.
I am also open that entire time.
I will not be available part of that time, but I don't know what that part of that time is yet.
Okay.
Depending on when Isabel moves into college.
Oh, right, okay.
So. You don't care.
I do care.
He
Just
cares in
won't
here.
be, I just won't be attending.
It's also for you gonna stay that way.
Within the next couple of weeks, they're supposed to find it out moving dates
Okay.
and stuff, so.
We can circle back to that, but just keep in mind for your summer calendars, and if there's anything the board is interested in focusing on with the admin team, if you wanna let me know any suggestions that you have or things you're interested in, happy to do that. I know everybody really felt like their time with Anita was very valuable, so I'm happy to reach out to her again to see if she's willing to facilitate again if we have a specific topic we're interested in. Cool. Alright, thanks everyone.
Thank you. Move on to school business administrator reports.
Okay, well, the first thing, I'd like to go off script a little bit. So today, Lisa and I attended a school front workshop. And in that workshop, it made me realize a few things. One of the things that we did was that we got in small groups and we shared about school front with other districts. And it became very evident to me that the true small but mighty district and the great staff that we have, we clearly utilize school front far more than anybody else that was there in terms of, we have at least 20 different forms that we use it for timesheets, payroll. And one of the testaments that really stood out to me was, so I was sharing with the group, these are the things that we do. And I listed off the first 4 items, and there was a member there that said, oh my goodness, we use 4 different platforms for those first 4 things that you mentioned. So that just right there was a testament to me that, in terms of what our district is, small but mighty, we look for efficient manners. And this started, prior to I started, the previous school business administrator brought in school front and introduced it and developed it. But since then, it has grown quite a bit. We've added all kinds of things. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is it's Staff Appreciation Week. And there's no bigger testament that in the district office, there are two people that were incremental in help developing Schoolfront. That's Nadine and Lisa. So as a team, the three of us essentially did a lot of work to develop to where it is today. And also, not just the district office staff, but anytime we have a problem that needs to be addressed or to try to find a solution for, there'll be a suggestion from maybe another staff member, and then we will find a solution. One example that we just recently came up with a solution for was the summer timesheets with the different grants versus general funding. So we have now 2 different timesheets for that purpose, because it'll streamline it much more. It's much more efficient than the old paper timesheets, especially in the summer when you're trying to, people are on vacations and approvals. So anyways, I just am very proud of our small but mighty district and the staff that we have, and I just wanted to express that. Okay, so now to the agenda. The first item that I wanna talk about is our food service program. So for next year, we will not be sharing food service director, Williamson. So that, of course, forces us to come up with a solution. And right now, we're working with BOCES to have a shared food service director, which, you know, the benefit to that is that it is able, so we get some money back for that. But with that change, you just need to understand, and depending, again, we're working on it, there may be a need for some staff shifting or changes as well. So I just wanted to let you be aware of that, and more information to come. And then the next item, back to usual business, the financial report. So looking at the revenues from last month to this month, there is an overall increase of about $150,000, and that is due to we received about an $80,000 E-rate check. If you remember last year we did the upgrade, so we've a delay, so we got that revenue, and then also every month we update our interest and earnings. So there was another 40-some thousand for that for the month of March. On the expenditure side, virtually identical, so there's no change. Any questions on financial report?
Okay. If not, can I get a motion to approve the financial reports? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That passes. Anything else?
I went off script enough, I think.
Okay. We will move on to the consent agenda items. Any board members have any questions or comments on the consent agenda items?
No.
If not, can I get a motion to approve them? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That motion passes. Assuming still nobody signed up for community comments, okay. We will then, can I get a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing tenure appointments, potential litigation, and work history of a particular employee?
I'll move it
Can
for
I
all
get a
that stuff.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? That passes. We will go into executive session now.